Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bright English Point. Today, we will talk about one of the most famous and interesting love stories from real life. This is the story of Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend. Their love was full of passion, hard choices, and many problems. It shows us how duty and rules can sometimes hurt our chances for true love. Let us learn about their story together. To understand this story, we must know what Britain was like in the 1950s. After World War II, Britain was trying to heal and return to normal. People wanted order and strong traditions. The royal family was a symbol of stability. They followed many old rules and customs. Back then, everyone expected the royals to act in a very proper way. Personal choices, like who to love or marry, were not seen as just private matters. When someone in the royal family did something different, the whole country noticed. This made love stories like this one very special and sometimes very painful. Princess Margaret was the younger sister of Queen Elizabeth II. Many people loved her because she was beautiful, lively, and a little rebellious. Unlike her sister, who always followed the rules, Margaret liked to have fun and make her own choices. She often challenged the strict rules of royal life. Even though she was popular and loved by many, her life was not easy. She had many rules to follow, and the public watched everything she did. Deep down, Princess Margaret wanted a love that was free and true. Peter Townsend was an officer in the Royal Air Force. He fought in World War II and was known for being brave and kind. He worked closely with the royal family as an equerry, which means he helped and served the king and queen. Peter was well respected because he was polite, well-dressed, and always did his duty. But he had a secret that caused big problems. Peter was a divorced man. In the 1950s, divorce was looked down upon, especially for someone who might be linked to a royal. This made it hard for him to be with Princess Margaret in the eyes of many people. In the early 1950s, Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend met and soon became friends. At first, they spent time together at official events and small gatherings. They liked each other's company, shared jokes, and talked about many things. Slowly, their friendship grew stronger, and they began to feel something more. As time went on, they started to fall in love. They met in secret places, exchanged kind words, and gave each other small smiles that meant a lot. Even though they cared very much for each other, they both knew that their love was not accepted by the strict rules of the royal family and society. Princess Margaret had two lives to think about. One was her royal life. She had many duties and rules to follow as a member of the royal family. The other was her private life. In her heart, she wanted to love freely without many rules. The biggest problem was that Peter Townsend was a divorced man. In the 1950s, many people believed that divorce was a bad thing. For a princess, this was a very serious issue. The rules of the royal family said that she should marry someone who was very proper and not divorced. This made their love very difficult. Every time they met, they had to think about the rules. Every moment of happiness was mixed with worry. They both knew that if their secret became public, it could hurt the reputation of the royal family and change the history of the country. Soon, people began to talk about Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend. The newspapers and magazines wanted to know all the details of their relationship. Reporters took pictures and wrote many articles. The public became very interested in their love story. The media's attention made life even harder for them. Every time they went out in public, people looked at them closely. Every smile and every kind word was noted by the press. The constant attention made Princess Margaret feel trapped. She had to choose between her own happiness and the duty she owed to her family and country. This media storm was a sign of how much people cared about the royals. But it also meant that every private moment was suddenly a public matter. The pressure was enormous for both Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend. After much thought, Princess Margaret had to make a very hard decision. She loved Peter Townsend very much, but the rules of the royal family were too strict. The idea of a princess marrying a divorced man was not allowed at that time. The royal family and many people in Britain believed that her duty to the crown was more important than her personal happiness. It was a very sad moment for both of them. Princess Margaret had to end the romance, even though it hurt her deeply. Peter Townsend also felt the pain of knowing that they could not be together openly. Both of them had to give up the love they wanted because of the rules and expectations of the time. Every secret meeting and every shared smile was filled with sorrow because they knew their time together was limited. In private, Princess Margaret often felt lonely and regretful. She had to choose duty over love, and that choice left a lasting mark on her heart. Even many years later, people still talk about the forbidden love of Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend. Their story has become a part of royal history and is remembered by many as a tale of true but impossible love. The story of Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend made many people think about the strict rules of the royal family. Over time, these rules have slowly changed. Today, the royal family is more open about personal choices. Although many old traditions remain, the impact of this story helped start conversations about modernizing the way the royals live their lives. Their love story is a lesson about sacrifice. Princess Margaret had to give up her chance for happiness for the sake of duty. This sacrifice is a reminder that sometimes people have to choose between what they want and what is expected of them by society. It shows us that love can be very painful when it comes with many rules and restrictions. The forbidden romance of Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend is not just a royal scandal. It is a story that has touched many people. It has been the subject of books, movies, and TV shows. Many people see it as a symbol of the struggle between old traditions and new ways of thinking. Their story makes us think about how much society has changed and how far we still have to go. The love between Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend is a story that makes us feel many emotions. It is a story of hope, sadness, and sacrifice. Even though their love could not last, it is remembered as one of the most touching romances in modern history. Today, their story helps us understand how hard it can be to follow our hearts when we are bound by duty and tradition. It reminds us that real love often comes with pain, and that sometimes we must make choices that hurt us deeply for the sake of others. For many people, Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend are symbols of the cost of following strict rules over personal happiness. Their story continues to be told and remembered because it touches on feelings that are common to us all: the desire to love freely, the pain of losing that love, and the hope that one day, society will allow people to be true to themselves. Let us take a moment to reflect on what we have learned from this story. The forbidden love of Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend is not just a historical event. It is a lesson about the power of love and the high price of duty. It shows us that sometimes following one's heart can come at a great cost. But it also reminds us that love is a powerful force that can inspire change. As we move forward, let us remember this story when we see strict rules and traditions in our own lives. Let us ask ourselves, are these rules fair? Do they allow us to be happy? And what can we do to help create a world where love is free and true? Thank you for joining me today as we explored the touching and complicated story of Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend. I hope that through this simple and clear story, you learned something new about history, love, and the challenges of following your heart. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Which part of their story did you find the saddest or the most inspiring? I would love to hear your ideas. Stay tuned to Bright English Point for more true stories told in simple, easy English. Let us learn and grow together through history, real events, and the lessons they teach us about life. Until next time, keep learning, keep dreaming, and always follow your heart, even when it is hard. Goodbye for now.